Hey, can we talk? How are you? Hope you said good. And if not, we can always be better. Um, Today I wanted to talk about, I don't know. I have a lot on my mind today, so we'll just jump from subject to subject and we'll just call this whatever it is when I finish. Um, the first thing I wanted to talk about is I feel like it is very important that we find people who can understand what you mean when you say things. It's very important that we find people who understand why you feel the certain ways that you feel. I think someone who can see why you feel that way without trying to make it out to be like okay, you shouldn't feel that way though. You blah, 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 blah. Like, you should just do this. I think it's all about knowing your heart and what you can and can't do because you just make something torturous for yourself, which I've talked about previously. Um, I also want to give a reminder to everybody to not see significance in insignificant things. Your worth does not come from a follower. Your worth does not come from a like. Your worth does not come from a text. Your worth does not come from a response. You can share what you want to share with the world without it needing to be spoken on by anyone else but yourself. So, maybe a little bit of the bad advice to the wrong person, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you feel like there's something you want to say to anyone, somebody specific or just out loud, say it. Say it. You know, don't hold back on how you feel because you feel like, okay, well, it's just not worth bringing up. It's just not worth, they're not going to say anything about it anyway. They're not going to respond anyway. Remind yourself that your intense feelings come from you. These are your intense feelings, and they don't always need to be reciprocated. All that matters is that you are getting it out there and feeling as if you can express yourself because that's truthfully what's most important. Learning to express yourself the best way. Um, be inviting of change. Understand that, you know, um, understand that it's entirely possible to feel how you feel and think that like, okay, I can wait, I can be patient. You have to understand how change works and you have to understand what it means to change. Remind yourself that change doesn't remove certain things, it only adds to it. So if you ever feel like change has happened and, this person that you once cared about doesn't care about you anymore, so long as things were all good, always count on that love still being there. Um, and some advice that a friend told me, you can wait, but live your life. Live your life waiting. Don't wait and not live your life. If you have to look back, if you have to look back in the future, do you want to look back and say, man, I waited? What did it amount to? Or would you like to look back and be like, I waited and I lived and I didn't get what I wanted, or maybe I did, but the point of the matter is that I lived. I did what I had to do. That's what really matters most. That you feel like what you're doing has some type of accomplishment. And I guess the last thing I mainly wanted to touch on is something that I wrote down here in this book. And this book was starting to mean a lot more to me every single day. Learn to find a slice of joy in anything, even through the pain, even when you don't know. Sometimes you just have to find a slice of joy in something. Give significance to things, you know? And it may seem a little contradictory to what I was saying before, where I was telling you not to find significance or find your worth in insignificant things. But sometimes you do have to give worth to insignificant things. Not base your worth off of it, but give it some worth. This book, to anyone else, it's a book. But to me, it means something. I gave it significance. I gave it worth. It means something to me. It is important to me now. And I think a lot of times that's how you get your win. You know, sometimes you just need to figure out the best way to get your win, no matter what, because it's going to be hard. And if you can't find a win, You'll feel like you're losing every single day, and you're just not. You gotta know when to get your win. You gotta know how to get your win. And yeah, understand that, like I spoke about a lot, and I'm a believer in Christ. So when I speak on things, I speak on it coming from a place of the Bible. But if you don't believe in that, then just see it as just some advice that somebody once told you, you know? But love is patient. That is the first line of the verse. Let me pull the verse up. The first line of 1 Corinthians 13, verses 4 through 8. Love is patient. That is the first line of it. So I feel like we always talk about love is kind. Love doesn't envy. It doesn't boast. It's not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. But the first line, we always overlook that. It is patient. If you truthfully love something, someone, you'll learn to wait, no matter how hard that'll be. Because I feel like a lot of times we second guess ourselves because we say, well, this couldn't be love. If it was love, then why does it feel like this? Why does it hurt? Why does it bother me so that I'm not speaking to them? Because it's love. Love hurts. It's hard. It's scary. But love is patient. You have to be patient for what you want, for what you desire, for who you desire. You have to be able to wait for it. And so I close this video off with that being the last thing I wanted to say. Remind yourself that love is patient. Of all things, love is patient and love is kind. But you have to remember that patience. Be patient with time. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with the world around you. Remember that we're all just moving along, you know? Try to find some meaning in that. And try to get your win however way you can. When it seems like something is taken away from you, try to remind yourself of what you do have. I woke up the other day and I felt as if this was taken from me, that was taken from me. I don't have this anymore. I don't have that anymore. You have to be able to remind yourself of what you do have, what you still hold on to. Remind yourself that you are not all lost. That is what matters. So I hope that finds anyone in good health. And thank you.